Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Gadget Show Web TV. Now, it seems that people want increasingly to watch their televisions outside. Well, at least that's what Sanyo think, because they've just launched a range of exterior televisions. Or rather, should I say, outdoors televisions. There are 32-inch ones and ones like this, which are 42-inch. They're all LCD. It's 1366 by 768 pixels, so it's HD ready, and it has an HDMI socket. Now, clearly there are certain requirements for a television that has to work outdoors. It needs to be bright and have a good contrast ratio for a start, and Sanyo claim this one is particularly good in that respect. Actually, the figures don't sound that spectacular. It has a brightness figure of 500 candelas per metre squared and a contrast ratio of 800 to 1. And I have seen TVs with higher figures than that. But having said that, it's actually working quite well out here in the quadrangle at the custard factory. However, another feature it needs to have is a very good angle of view. You don't want to be sort of compromised in where you go in the garden according to the angle of view of the TV. Now, reflections seem to be the biggest issue actually, but it's not noticeably bad actually at all. In fact, it's probably pretty good really. You can even use a bit down there from underneath, but the actual angle you can see is pretty good. Now, so there's two requirements. There is of course a vital third requirement, and that is that it needs to be weatherproof. And Sanyo have been testing this one quite heavily. They reckon it meets IP56, which is a standard for weatherproofness, which means you can leave it out in the pouring rain, snow, sleet, or indeed conditions of falling dirt and mud, apparently, and also it doesn't corrode under those circumstances as well, which is pretty good really. But I wasn't prepared to take their word for it. I wanted to do some testing. I have a bucket and a plentiful supply of water over there. So, let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's pretty good for a start. Seems to stand that pretty well. Now, of course, it's not only good enough to have a waterproof front. The TV has to have a waterproof back as well. And we've got all the connections. There's not only HDMI, there's also SCART leads and everything are all in the back here. So I think we should test that out. And that looks pretty good as well. Excellent, a special waterproof SCART note. Now, Sanyo say that one of the biggest markets for this sort of telly is going to be pubs, because with the smoking ban coming up, let's try a bit on the top. With the smoking ban coming up, you won't be able to smoke and watch football in an enclosed space inside the pub, so they'll have one of these in the garden instead. Which means it's probably just as well that it's also supposed to be somewhat impact resistant. They say it will stand the odd beer glass being chucked at it, but they weren't too keen on me trying that because sometimes it doesn't. I think it needs some more water. Hold on. So I think one of the biggest markets, apart obviously from people who want to watch telly while doing barbecues in the garden and sit in their swimming pool, is going to be hotels, because they no longer have to worry about rock stars coming into the hotel, throwing the TV out into the swimming pool. They can just do it merrily, and then they'll send someone down, they'll pick it back up again, put it into the room, and it'll be totally undamaged.